probably about 1,500 quid for a weekend away.
For most people, a weekend away means a hotel and a few drinks. For Blake Kelly, it can cost £1,500 just to go racing.
By the time I get to Manx Grand Prix this year, with buying the bike specifically for it and trying to throw everything at it, I think it'll be close to about 30 grand.
And that's not the biggest price he's paying, because this isn't just about money.
It is different when you're going up there on your own, and
But it is.
that shoulder tap is iconic, and then we're coming up to the line.
It's about standing on the start line, waiting for that tap on the shoulder, knowing that in seconds everything changes.
And you are pretty much on your own for most of it, and it is 100% mental, 100% physical, and yet so peaceful at the same time.
This is Blake Kelly.
Hello humans, welcome to the M-Word podcast, brought to you by Martin, that's me.
And Matt.
That's him.
Him.
I just heard noise rattling around. I don't know whether it's the dogs outside. Apologies, Blake. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Thanks for sparing us a wee bit of time. So, want to chat biking?
Yeah.
Or bikes. And, well, motor rather than push bikes. Although we can chat push bikes and you crashing them, but we'll get on to that. So maybe just background, your Manx brought up here, and what got you into bikes?
I was quite late to the game, actually. Grew up and never thought I'd end up sort of going down this way. Didn't really have the money to do so. And then...
Were you doing sports as a youngster at all?
Not massively, no. BMX, really. Down the skate parks, bit of skateboarding, tried some rollerblading, sort of play everything. It was,
Sounds like a midlife crisis, that.
It probably actually has helped, because I've been thankful to not have too many spills, but I'm really good at falling over.
Okay.
Probably not good for my neck, but I can always keep my helmet off the ground.
Right.
I think that's just a natural thing from...
Protect the expensive thing.
Yeah.
Your head, not the helmet, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. So what then first picked up biking? Was it maybe doing something other than road racing, trials, bikes, whatever, or...?
No, so I started by just sort of getting my bike license, probably around 2019-ish, little 125 that I borrowed off my mum, and then went straight into a 600 and was riding around. And I'd always sort of watched like moto vloggers and YouTubers on that way, and I thought, why is no one doing this in the Isle of Man? You know, it's the home of motorbikes. Yeah. So every ride I went out, I had GoPros on, more because if something happened, then I had a bit of evidence to back it up, and then started doing bits and pieces, trying to give local knowledge for the TT. These are where the spots, these are where to get to, trying to help people out that way, and eventually just went into racing, and it sort of followed on from there. Yeah,
so I was going to say, so that beginning phase was just about riding the bike rather than racing.
Yeah. So I did early on like a beginner's guide to the mountain for people coming over on the one way. I've always been pretty big on ride safe, not slow, because anyone can tell a bike, slow down, you're going to kill yourself, and then you just ignore that and then carry on doing what you're doing. So, well, actually, if you just think about how you're doing things, you can enjoy the bike and do it in a much better way, which is strange to what I'm doing in a professional capacity now as a blue light instructor,
right?
Sort of similar things, but yeah, progressed on through there, and then thought, well, I'll show people how to get a race license as well, because people are asking different things, and I've just sort of documented all the way through.
I see you blog that journey.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And I think it's...
So what's involved? Tell us
It's a little bit complicated, actually. So you have a two-part session to get your race license. You've got to do a classroom side, so this is a red flag, this is a green flag, this is what happens on the day. And then you pretty much do a track day to show that you can ride somewhat competently, and they do a practice race start. And
with the ACU, oversee that, or
yeah, it's all for ACU, and you get your stamps and have an eye test, and then you've got your novice license, and then from that you have to do 10 race days on 3 circuits and not fall off. You can get a clubman license to upgrade to that tier, and then you do the same again, 10 races, 3 circuits, but you have to be at 92.5% the pace of the winner. And then you can get a national license that opens you up to roads, and then I always forget what it is, but it's like 6 that you have to do within 13 months and have it for so long to get your mountain license.
Okay.
And then with a few things that they stipulate, because you have to do training sessions and so many laps with an instructor, and then they'll let you loose around.
Yeah, and of course, all that's aside from bikes and the cost and fuel, that's all cost and money, I assume.
Oh, massively, yeah. Thankfully, probably one of the main benefits of the YouTube as well is promoting the racing, and people want to help and come on that journey, which has been good to attract sponsors, because it is horrendously expensive.
Yeah, so I mean, we spoke to quite a few bikes, haven't we, Matty? But like cost of the types of bikes you're running, and cost of I'd say, I mean, you're away the weekend. What kind of money you're sinking into that?
So that is,
assuming the missus isn't listening or whatever.
No, she's really good, massively supportive. So this year's been a bit of a different one for me, because the plan is to invest everything and see if I can get a result, and then I know, well, actually, is this worth pursuing at a massive level? Because every trip I've taken off the island is racing. It took, I think, 7 or 8 years of being with my missus before we went on a trip that wasn't for racing, and that's only because I spanned myself on a mountain bike and we went on the trip anyway. So we went to watch some racing.
Yeah, right.
And it does take its toll on a lot of other people as well. And it's not unnoticed, but probably about £1,500 for a weekend away, and it's never good to add it up. But I think by the time I get to Manx Grand Prix this year, with buying the bike specifically for it and trying to throw everything at it, I think I'll be close to about 30 grand.
Right, wow. Okay.
And that's not even the upper scale. You know, some boys can throw all sorts at it.
So the bike itself, as we were talking just before we came on air, you've got, I mean, I want to go back in time a little bit, but at the moment you've got an Aprilia.
Yep.
So what, again, buying them off the shelf, what are they?
So I got mine for 14 and a half.
Second hand, I assume, is
it?
Yeah.
That was from a lad in Ireland, and it was built ready to go, because I was looking at taking a road bike and then putting the parts in. It would have been slightly more expensive, but this was ready to go, and it appeared. And
had been raced before, or did he build it specifically to sell to racers?
No, he'd raced it a couple of times and was looking to change direction. And the only problem was that it was in Ireland, which doesn't have the best transport links here, so I didn't see it. And I rang around a few people to say, do you know this guy, do you know the bike? And a few people said, yeah, he's legit. If he's built it, it's done right. And thankfully, someone was coming over to our endurance race, and they said, right, I'll put it in the van and bring it over. Oh. Then they cancelled our endurance race, so I had to try and figure out to get it to somewhere else. And Grant Thompson ended up bringing it back.
Yeah, okay. It was he was in the Manx last year, wasn't he, with you?
Yeah. It was a great start to the Manx last year, actually. The first 3 bikes away on the newcomers lap was me, Grant Thompson and Sam Norton. So 3 locals starting the Manx Grand Prix. That's how it should be.
Yeah, right. And so you're on that start line on that Aprilia?
No, that was on an R6 for last year. But there was always a bit of a question. I mean, technically speaking, by the regs, that bike shouldn't have been out because it was too old. It was just past the cusp.
We're talking about R6 here?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was 118 horsepower, which round here, it's all top end. It's massively all about horsepower, really, and how you can link it together. So it was just a bit of a, could I have done better if I had proper kit under me? And then I changed role in work into days 9 to 5, and it was like, okay, let's invest everything into it. Let's try and do as much as we can, see if I can get a result in this year with a proper bike underneath me, and then I'll know, is this worth pursuing at 100% for everything, or is it fun?
I say, what's this year look like then when you're saying you're going all in? Is that, how many are you trying to get away to as many events? Is it certain positions you've got to get in that sort of sense? What does that all in kind of like you're trying to attain at the minute?
Well, annoyingly, so I was told that I was going to stay in that 9 to 5 role until probably around September time, which is perfect, because I wanted to get back on the operational side, on the trucks, going out on the fire engines, and I was told, well, we're going to leave you where you are till September, which worked really well for the race season. And then about a month ago, I got moved back onto the watch, so it's already causing a few complications with getting away, but I've just come back from Anglesey. I was hoping to get to Oliver's Mount, but I need to try and find someone to cover shifts. And then July is going to be really busy because we've got Southern 100, Oliver's Mount, over to Cadwell, and then the double header up at Derby as well. So
space every weekend.
Yeah, just to try and build the skills and get on it.
And get those signatures, that's getting those signatures.
Yeah.
I'd heard, this was a while ago now, like, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, that the fire service had stopped allowing, I think it was maybe post Paul Hunt, but kind of that era I'm talking about more. Not talking about Paul. I'm talking about that era more. That they stopped fireman racing, but obviously you sat here now.
No, I think whenever someone has an accident, then someone says, "Well, we probably shouldn't do this." We've had runners take themselves off the run.
Yeah,
so they get injured.
Would you go?
Cyclists, getting pulled out on it's
No, I just remember hearing that years ago. Okay, so let's go back a little bit in time. So I'm interested. Well, in fact, I want to jump around because you talked about the TT and being on that the Manx. Start being on that start line. So obviously the Manxie, that's something that's obviously very iconic for us Manxies, thinking about waiting to be the tap on the shoulder to go down the hill. So just talk about how that felt when you were, I'm sure you dreamt about it long before it happened.
Yeah.
What was it like? What was poopy pants or excited or?
It's really weird to describe. So my oldest memories are standing in Coronation Park in Ramsey, watching for Joey going past, and then never really thinking I could get it. Once I grew up a little bit and life hit, and I was a mechanic at the time, wasn't really earning much, and it just wasn't really feasible. And then did a bit of a change round move and got myself into a position. And from day one, it was like, right, I'm getting my race license. I'm going around the mountain circuit. That was it. Everything was for that. And I've worked with a lot of riders on the YouTube side, so I've been up there and I've seen it. Been up there from the fire side and been up there and seen it. And it is different when you're going up there on your own. And
but it is.
That shoulder tap is iconic. And then we're coming up to the line and you don't feel it because you've got massive padding in your shoulders, on your leathers, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go now. And I still can't quite find the words for what it's like being out there because it's so different to any race, and you are pretty much on your own for most of it, and it is 100% mental, 100% physical, and yet so peaceful at the same time. Right. It's really bizarre.
Okay. Yeah, I'd imagine. Do a bit of pushbike racing when they close the roads. There's weird sensations just being on different parts of the road that, obviously, we commute the roads every day. You're not used to. It's just even that of just thinking of like coming into the top of Ray Hill, and it's like not you'd be thinking about cars crossing the road, but instincts like traffic lights, all the normal.
Yeah. So it was sort of in the back of my mind because I love overthinking things before I get to the point. And, what if? And one of the concerns I had was, well, I know these roads really well, so am I going to stick to the left-hand side when I shouldn't? One-way mountain, I've done plenty of them, so I know where you can cut and where you can see and where the double whites are that you shouldn't be passing. So, or am I going to just automatically try and get back in here? And my first road race was the pre-TT Classic down on the Southern Course. And we're coming into Stadium Corner, and there was a lot of people lined up by the wall. One of them was waving mad, and my first thought was, what's he doing so close to the course? And it's because you're
like
so
on the inside of the corner there.
Yeah, you're so used to on short circuits, people are so far back, and that was my first thought was, well, actually, hang on, I'm on a road here. It was weird. Once that visor goes down, you're just in a different place.
Yeah, get out of my way. And if you look back at those first few laps, and then look back at how you imagine the TT course, and then what was maybe more different than you expected, having done a few laps and gone, oh, I didn't quite expect.
There's more jumps than you think, a lot more of them, and they talk about bumpy section from Ginger Hall up to Ramsey, and that's pretty horrible. But also on the exit of Bagaro, when you come down and come up, that's horrible as well, and it kicks you around. And it's just strange. You drive it on roads, and you sort of get a bit of an appreciation for it, and you watch lots of onboards, but everything on a video kind of looks quite flat, and it's just a bit of a mix of them all, and going, oh, actually, this is new as well. And you can prep as much as you want, but until you get out there and let loose.
What was the fitness like? Obviously,
it was
chunky.
Yeah,
chunky amount of time on a bike. I appreciate I'm sure you race a lot and get around a bit, but I imagine physically, let alone mentally. Yeah,
it's massively different, and unfortunately, I made a bit of a mistake with Grand Prix this year or last year even. I was picking up the pace slowly each time I was out and getting up, and the first race was on. It was on the Saturday or the Friday. And 109.8 mile an hour. Right, next one's 110 because it's close. And instead of taking a race day, I went up to Derby and raced my Grom round. Now I'm 6'2" and it's a pretty small bike, and I think that definitely didn't help because when I went out for the second race, I got to about Union Mills, and I knew it wasn't going to be quicker and it was going to be hard the whole way around. and it definitely takes your toll.
Takes a toll, yeah, right. So on that, you'd be on an R6, so you'd be pretty big for an R6 even, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Tucking in.
Connor Cummins manages it.
Yeah,
he's a big boy.
There's still a lot flopping around the outside. No offence to Connor. Sorry, Connor. Elbows and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're trying to squeeze out everything and hunch down as much as you can, and that's not great on the spine and neck, never mind bouncing around with the wind and all sorts. But it's bike fit. You speak to any biker, you'll know that bike fitness is different to normal, so you have to do both.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of events that are kind of, I don't know, similar in length or anything that matches what you do here around that course? Is like when you go away, there's nothing that you can kind of do to prepare you for that then?
No, we did the endurance race up at Derby, which was pretty good, but they capped that at 45 minutes a stint, so you do 45 minutes and then the next rider has to do at least half an hour before you back out again. That's probably the closest we've got.
Is that safety reasons they cap that?
I think so, yeah. I think it was a couple of years ago, Matt Stevenson went out and just did the whole thing on his own.
On his back wheel?
Yeah, he's a hero, isn't he? Motocross, I think, is going to help, so it's something I want to get into to try and help with that.
Yeah, I think Kringle lads do quite a bit of that. In fact, a few of them, I think Mikey's talked about that as well.
You see it quite a lot. Lads come over from motocross and they just gel with it. And
it seems to be that, again, I've never ridden one, but a lot of that seems to be out of the saddle, and I believe that the fair amount of time you just out the saddle because you're trying to move the bike left and right. And
especially on the roads when you're bouncing around. That section up from Ginger Hall through, you're pretty much standing on the pegs so you can let the back end do what it wants, but you don't want to put your weight on the bars because you want the front end to do what it wants, so you're sort of balancing 130, 40 mile an hour, which is cracking fun.
You say so.
Do you do a lot of like strength conditioning or any like weight work of anything like that?
So I think with the job as well, have to be pretty in trim for that, and I try where I can to do exercises that would be a bit more specific. So I was having some issues out in Spain last year with going down the gears, which is lifting up on my foot on the bike. So it was just, hook a kettlebell around that and see if we can get that going.
Right. And was that through just tiredness from what was the challenge?
I think it is, probably being crunched up. If I don't actively tell myself to move back in the seat, then I'll start sliding up towards the tank and long legs crunched up, trying to move them, and it's just not ideal.
So you mentioned earlier about travelling away as well. So I guess a lot of the time you've got mates or spanners, I think you call them, do you, to help you? So again, that's a good crew of people, mates around you, is it? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. So I've got one main man, Tom, who is great. Pretty much every race meeting, he just looks after the bike. And when I,
do you like, obviously some riders just jump and go, others want to know what's going on. Where are you at in regard to like, tell me what's going on here, or do you just leave Tom to it?
Not too bad, I think in the early days, just let me do it. Early on, it was like, I'll try and figure it out and see what's going on, because you have to have a bit of an understanding to come back in and say,
give feedback.
It's doing this, and the main issue is usually suspension and the geometry of the bike, seeing what's going on. But I'll tell him what it's doing and what I want it to do, and then he'll work his magic.
You go on vlog and he does the work.
Yeah, it is good. And then when I've upset myself and throw a bit of a tantrum, he's really good as well to go, put your head back on, calm down, let's get going. And it's good just to sometimes have that.
And what's his back? Is he a mechanic by background?
So he's been a mechanic for most of his career. He's recently left the trade, which I totally understand. Mechanics was something I'm very glad I did, and I'm glad I left, because it's a weird environment to be in, but it's a really handy skill to have.
Is it out of interest? Is it a changing environment? Anybody, like, I think car-wise, things are getting so much more. I sound like an old man now, but computer orientated.
Yeah.
I don't know, bikes, I guess, there's obviously a lot of electronics on them generally. Is that kind of shift as well, I guess you're always still having to upskill yourself, I guess, as well?
Oh, massively, yeah. The world's always changing, isn't it? My last stint in mechanics was actually really good, because a lot of the sort of older hats weren't too keen on the electronic side, and when hybrids started coming around, they were like, well, I don't want to touch that. I was like, I'm going to do that. So towards the end of my career, most of the time I spent on really clean jobs that was dealing with electric and stuff, while people are whacking around big dirty chunks of metal.
Yeah, right.
So it suited quite well, yeah.
And I have interest, the Aprilia you've got now, is that, I'll use worst language, is that fairly computery
Yeah, massive. So it's got
Technical term, mate.
yeah, it's traction control.
Okay.
You can change the.
Should be downloading the data after that, seeing that kind of thing.
We don't
do you not?
much. No, it's just trying to figure out where it works and leave it at that. You can change the engine mapping on it, change the rate that the engine slows you down when you're off the throttle. There's all sorts on it, and we just try and get it to where we like it and leave it.
Right, but you don't do you do that based on feel then?
A little bit, yeah. Right. So the R6, we actually put a dashboard on it that was GPS tracking, and it told you what gears you were in and what was going on, and that was handy because the bum dyno lies. So you're going around a corner and you think, yeah, this feels faster, and then you look at it and go, well, actually, no, it's not. And I do like data in a lot of ways, and the one thing we changed with the Aprilia is putting a lap timer on it, so that rather than going out and doing a session and coming back in and going, oh, lap 3 was the quickest, what were you doing? Well, I don't know what was on there. Whereas if I'm out there, I can see it in front of me, I can go, okay, I'll do what I normally do, and I'll change a couple of corners, and you can see directly within that lap, that's working. All right, we'll stick with that, or no, not that, try something else.
And is that more, appreciating it around the TT, ultimately don't get a huge amount of laps just by the pure nature of the size of the course. Is that short circuit you're talking more there?
Yeah, massively, yeah. The big circuit and Milky Quail was good to drive at home on the newcomer weekends. You are so long, even if you're doing 2 laps, you do a section, you think, right, I'm going to try and do it differently next time. You can't just focus on that bit because you have to do the rest of it as well. And by the time you come around, you might have a rider in your way, the conditions might have changed, you might just not be remembering at that point and just get around to it is a different beast entirely.
Yeah, right. So that newcomer's experience, obviously I assume it's a requirement when you sign up for, I assume the TT as much as the Manx, and then you just got to attend a certain amount of sessions.
Yeah,
I presume it's compulsory to a degree. Yeah.
You do the sessions and you have to do 6 laps minimum with instructors. So you go out in cars at open roads and we did it. They had the smallest hire cars possible, a little Igo with 5 lads in there, and you go around that really knowledgeable and will tell you different bits and pieces, and then you go in with a different instructor and they tell you something slightly different, and you have to do a minimum of 6 laps, but you can usually squeeze in some more. And then there was another weekend that wasn't mandatory, but I went for that as well. So
I imagine most riders want to. Ultimately, they want to know as much, and it's all like I always view the bike. Well, like anything, it's risk management as well. So the more you're doing, the more you. And obviously, ultimately, you guys do want to go as fast as you can within the safety that you guys are comfortable riding. But to do that, you obviously want to know every inch, don't you? Yeah.
And there's so many sections as well that if you're offline on a corner, it's going to take you 2 or 3 to get back, which is not ideal. You don't have lots of runoff, and there's not that safety of a gravel trap when you've got Mrs. Miggin's wall.
No, indeed. So just like 110's a fucking good lick. I'd be pooping myself on the back of that or the front of it. Out of interest, if you look at the top guys in the TT and what they're doing, what goes through your head is, so again, I was a cyclist, I'll look at the pro cyclists and be like, so I can think about how could I get to that level, what would I need to, when you look at that, what do you, as a biker, I assume aspiring to go faster and faster, what do you?
It's hard. Well, I imagine it's the same in any sport. The faster you go, the more it is about the details and the tiny little bits that come on. Because I've watched onboards and you think, right, he's braking there, he's tipping in there, the power's on there. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm doing as well. But it might be a little bit closer. It might be a little bit in how they're putting it on. I think it's definitely down into the details as you get closer to that end.
And obviously, I get 37 miles, a lot of detail to go through, isn't there?
Yeah.
In 37 miles. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, so I assume on the bike, as you mentioned about, say, changing gear and moving it, tipping into a bend, or particularly changing a gear, because I assume on the bike when you're racing, you're 10.5 speedos.
So on the R6, I had it covered, didn't want to see it, and unfortunately, because the Aprilia is too clever and digitised, when you've got the dash on, because it's just an LCD display, that does lots of different things depending on what you're in. So I did have it covered up, but then that meant when I went through for different areas, I couldn't see things. So I've taken it off and I don't look at it, to be honest.
So just thinking you're watching on board, you obviously don't know ultimately how quick they're travelling to know.
Yeah, I was quite surprised when I looked back through my onboard and I overlaid the GPS data to put a speedo on there. so I could see what it was, because the dash on there was in kilometres now, and that doesn't work in my brain. So I see kilometres.
You don't want to be calculating that going down Crosby, do you?
And I was surprised that some of the areas, I think my bike topped out at 156, but it was mid 140s at the top of Bray Hill, and Crosby Leap the same, and I just never really thought about it of, well, all right, what pace are we on there? And
is it right that the brain just stops processing things quicker? Did you find that quite easy? I mean, obviously you've done short circuits, so there's a degree of that, or a huge degree of that, but it does feel again, as an observer, that road circuits is something else, because there's just so much more going on. But is it quick then now you see the fast boys, they go doing like 126 within 2 laps, which is fucking mental, pardon my French. But did you find that quite quickly the brain just adapts?
Yeah, it's the biggest trap is the slow bits, because you get up to speed and you're holding that for so long, your brain just works at that level. And I vividly remember coming into Gooseneck, and every time I went round it, I was like, oh, I'm at car park speeds here, it's terrible. And one of the lads at work was on the outside and he filmed it, and I was like, all right, that looks like I know what I'm doing there. And I'd have guesstimated it at like 20 mile an hour, but looking back, it's more like 60. And it is weird that you just get up to that level and then your brain processes that. And coming back in from the race, there was a few people had to tell me, calm down, speak a bit slower, please. You're up at that speed, but we're not.
Eyes are out here.
Massively amped up, and then the adrenaline drops off, and ready for a nap.
So talk a bit about the vlogging. So obviously you mentioned you started doing that, I suppose, in non-race capacity to start with. What age are you now?
Late 20s, aka 31.
Right, that's pretty late 20s, yeah.
Yep.
20 and 11.
I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, we'll go with that. So just talk a bit about it, I suppose. I suppose what I'm thinking about is, like, say we were recording this and videoing it, but the camera stuff as well, and that's why I asked the age, because I think I'll speak for myself here, bearing in mind I'm nearly 50, being in front of the camera and doing that stuff, or do you just see it as just a laugh? Or how do you...
Yeah, so I think
I'd be too self-conscious, I suppose, is my point.
I was as well. First time I started, I had a big DSLR and a big boom mic on it, and sat there talking, going, I'll do that again and again and again and again, and eventually just get used to it. And I've sort of fudged my way through in different bits and pieces, and it's very much my creative outlet, and I enjoy the editing and what comes out. And
you do all that yourself?
Yeah, I've had a bit of help on some of the cuts. One of my good friends, Brandon, worked for Greenlight, and he knows what he's doing with the camera. So a lot of recent videos, particularly at the Manx, he just had the camera and he was there filming, and he's really good, because although we have filmed everything through racing, when something goes wrong, the cameras are the first things we drop. It's like, right, let's fix the bike, we'll put that down and we'll leave it. And then when it comes to editing it, it's like, well, how do I tell that story? How do I tell them that something's happened when I can't show them? And it's not as engaging, it's not as enjoyable to watch. If you just have some B-roll on and go, oh, by the way, we had a crazy hour trying to get this fuel pump working. But if you've got the footage there, then it works and it's easy to tell the story.
And the just as famous ambulance.
Yeah.
What's that story?
So when it comes to racing, you need a van really for moving stuff around. It's where you live in the paddock, and most people just start off with a van. And being that I'd had quite a lot of exposure to what's in an ambulance, it's like, well, hang on, you've got storage in the back, you've got electrics in the back, you've got nice square walls. So I was quite set on buying an ambulance from the auction when they come up, and I mentioned it to a few people, and in proper Manx fashion, someone that I happened to be working with knew someone that was selling one, and they gave him a word, so I went down to have a look. I was looking at spending probably 3-4 grand, and I went down to have a look, and it was a 1997 ex-St John's ambulance. It wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but when he said, it was just about 700 quid, it's like, yep.
Yeah, and obviously a mechanic, you can... Yeah. Then needs a bit of TLC. Yeah,
mechanical, I'm fine with. Electrics, I'm fine with. Any kind of the joinery and working with wood, I'm absolutely awful at, but I'm also tight enough that I wouldn't pay anyone to do it, which is probably more the big thing. It's like, well, actually, this has got overhead cupboards everywhere. It's got the storage, so it's required some modification. And now we've got big screen TV in there, sofa bed. It's really cosy.
Luxury, Airbnb. Yes. So you'll throw the bike in the back, travel, and then get the bike out, leave it in an awning and keep in it.
So I can sleep in there with the bike,
How romantic.
Yeah, it was really handy actually. At the end of last year, so coming into 2025, we drove it down to Spain and left it in secure parking. So it meant that I could look at Google Flights and find the cheapest flights I could to go down to Alicante. And then there's always a track active down in the south of Spain there. There's so many of them and they do all sorts. So I could, for pretty cheap, 110 quid, fly out to my summer home or winter home down in Spain and go and race the bike and then come back. And did that 6 or 7 times and then brought it all back up.
Oh, okay. Oh, and just left it in like basically long-term parking.
Yeah, it was down there. It had security. Then
Right.
you dropped them a message on WhatsApp. They picked you up from the airport, took you down, bimble around in Spain, and then...
And you should leave the bike
off.
in the back of the...
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. And that typically then like a winter thing, you'd leave it down there, so then you can go down and do track days, basically.
I think it really helped because I came into the start of the season and had already been riding, so I was able to just really get back on it. Whereas if you aren't doing motocross or enduro or anything like that, you've got 6 months off to get yourself back up to speed and get going again. It takes its time, and if everyone else has already warmed up, you're on the back foot.
Yeah. I quite like ambulance to drive around in, actually.
Oh, it's lovely. We're over at Anglesey, and because it was quite windy, we were waiting around for what was going on. We're hidden inside, just watching the northwest and cooking some lovely food on the air fryer. And we spotted 7 or 8 people that took pictures of it.
All right.
It really does. We've got e-ambulance written on the back of it, and it looks a bit different because it's a white ambulance from '97, so it's a bit different. People see it and they go, "Oh, what's the ambulance on there?" And it does draw a crowd at a few places.
Yeah. What mileage has it got in the old boy?
Well, I don't know. So when I bought it, the clock said 19,000. Taken that up to 31, and that's what I thought at first. Maybe it's gone around, but there's enough figures that it would have to go past 1 million to get there.
Okay. And
then I found the English reg for it, so you can look at the DVLA history and stuff on it. So I think it's more like 140 from what's been on there.
Who make what make is it? Who makes those things?
So it's a Mercedes Sprinter base, and it was converted by AWG, who went out of business in, I think, 2010.
Right.
So behind the seat, I've got about 50 breakers. There's wires all over the place. I have no wiring diagrams.
But it's a Merc engine, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty
so it's going to go, isn't it?
Yeah.
As in, go a long way, not pop go. Right. So again, totally switching between things. You talk about being a blue light instructor. What's that?
So as my role in the fire service, I train people for responding on blue lights.
Okay.
Which is a very different way to drive because we do a lot of things that go against the rules of the road for what normal people expect, and a lot of that is you use your positioning to try and give people information, influence them into doing things. So you have to track everything that's going on the road and make sure that you're not coming up too fast behind someone so that they panic and stop on a blind corner, because that's not safe to get past them. So you sort of, when you're doing that with a student in, you've got to watch everything and watch what they're doing and then give them enough time to maybe do it or interject and try and get in there. It's really good. The way my brain works, if I'm not full on, I shut down.
Okay.
So I'm sort of full speed or
you need lots
bored.
of stimulant going.
Yeah.
So then that job would always be typically, so you mentioned obviously going back onto shift work, I'd call it, you're then doing fire work, going out to fire. So would that blue light instructor always be typically a fireman transition and doing that, rather than just, I've joined the fire service and all I do is drive training? I'll call it drive training, but blue light instructor.
So in the UK they have driving schools and they have driving centres and that's what they do, but we can't do it in the Isle of Man. We can't rely on anyone coming over.
So do you have to do, I presume, like HTV training, you have to do extra train? You basically go to the UK, get trained to be able to then train people?
No, we bring an instructor over to here. So I think there's 7 or 8 of us within the brigade.
So then you just rotate around into that, basically that role?
Wherever it fits.
Yeah, right. And where do they go? Where do you train them? Like
everywhere on the island.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the only part of our training that is real, because everything else we try and simulate it as best we can.
Right. So you're training them. Just you get a call out. You're in with the driver, then helping them, teaching them, or how does that work?
No. So we do an intensive, nearly 2 weeks course. It's 12 days.
Okay. But
you start off and you get them doing advanced HGV driving. And then you sort of ease them into it, and everyone has that nerves, the first time the blue lights come on. So it's like, right, well, we're going to do a blue light drive. so you can watch, and then you put them in the driver's seat and you go, okay, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do, so that the nerves are over, you're not thinking about that, and then you're sort of going into the coaching aspect and just try and get as many miles as we can. Start out on rural roads up by Derby, and then start going through into the busier areas and throw them into the centre of Douglas at rush hour and see how they do.
Right, yeah. And like, just thinking, I'm being nosy, that like it's a 9-to-5 job. Is that just training ongoing then? Is that what's filling your day at well, not the moment, because you've gone back, but back then?
Yeah, so I was with the training department.
Right.
So there's lots of different aspects that are 9 to 5, whether it's dealing with the kit and the equipment, or the training, or the safety side. So I was in the training department, and there isn't enough to just do the driving on there. So it was a lot of logistics involved in setting courses up and making sure that the right instructors were in certain areas, and they've got cars to cut up, or we've got wood to burn up a live fire, or even just the simple stuff of making sure someone knows how to use a ladder properly and getting out. But I've always gravitated towards sort of like teacher trainer roles. You know, when I was in the garage, I was always dead keen to have apprentices and go down that way. So it did fit really well.
And do jump in, Matt, if I'm going off on tangents here. What was I going to say then? Oh, I'm tired. Still got my jet lag. Let's go back to bikes. So let's talk about this year's Manx. So you mentioned, so it was 109 PB kind of range.
Yeah.
I know riders never talk about what, and obviously you've said kind of focused. Let's see, this is a hobby, or can get a bit more serious this year. I think is maybe a reasonable way of describing it. Well, what are the you know, what looks good to you? You come out of the Manx, top 20, top lap. What does it look like?
To be honest, I haven't particularly thought about it too much in that. I think I'll be quicker on the Aprilia than the R6, even though it's a less powerful bike, but it has more of a torque on there, and obviously I'll have the experience a little bit to build up from going on there. The 110, I definitely want the goods from there, and I was the first rider to not get a replica. So obviously the first 3 riders are on podium, they get awards, and then if you're within a certain percentage of that, you get the silver replica, and then below that is the bronze. And I was the first rider to just get a finisher's medal, which did sting a little bit. It was like, right, well, so I definitely want a replica and that 110, which I'm pretty confident with. And
both, I assume there was the 2 races in the Manx last year that you did?
Yep.
Yeah. Are they 3 or 4 laps, or
4 laps?
They ran. You got your 4 laps in, or 8 laps in?
Got the 4 laps and absolutely smashed the pit stop as well. So it's something that when we did the endurance racing, we'd practiced as well, and it was like, right, I sort of put my fire head on there and go, right, we're going to drill this until we get it right. So we're out in the driveway, rounding up, and it's all right, you're going to stand here, we're going to do this, and got it down to a slick operation. So we transferred that over to the Grand Prix as well, and had, I think it was the 3rd fastest pit stop.
Nice.
Out of only 4 that were under like 50 seconds. I absolutely smashed it, and that's down to the team, because I came in and the only thing I had to do was take my hands off to show I wasn't touching the bike. Someone gave me a drink, had a drink, and then, you know, after that brief time, get
and
back
does
on
it feel
again.
long, that 50 seconds when you're in the pit? To appreciate you did a quick stop, but from bombing around the circuit, does it feel long?
Not really, no. I think it's nice to have a little break.
Okay.
I was speaking to Tom about it fairly recently, actually, and it was like, it was a nice relaxing bit. He was like, for you. It's like,
they don't want to make a mistake, do they?
Yeah, it's so crucial, you know, to try and ease back any time for getting out of the pits. To make that back up on the last 2 laps would be, you're on the back foot, aren't you? Really. So for them, that was really, really important. I think it's nice that from day one, because I've said this is where we're going to the mountain course, and everyone's like, yeah, we're going to be there as well. And Tom was absolutely be buzzing there, so we got them all there.
As much as buzz as you doing it.
I think so, yeah. It's a team sport.
I presume at the Mac, again, a lot of it, I guess, cost. I don't know the single swing arms, but I assume you're not changing tyres in the Manx.
No need for it.
Yeah, need or cost, or both?
Probably, I think the time cost would be too much. You know, on the superbikes, you're going to kill a tyre, so you're going to have to swap it. But if you take the time to change the tyre, then again, you're going to make that up as if someone's, you know, dropped the fuel or not done anything.
Yeah, right.
We were pretty good on the Derby endurance, which did have a tyre swap, because we did fuel and a tyre swap quicker than a lot of teams were just doing the fuel, because we'd prepped for it, so we knew exactly what was happening.
Right, nice, good. Thanks for coming in and having a combo.
That's all right.
Enjoying the vlogs, keep them going. I think like I do certainly TT particularly enjoy, and there's probably not enough behind the scenes. I know Connor, we've done some pods with Connor, and he started doing some vlogs running up to TT, and seemed to be real good uptake because fans want to see behind the scenes a little bit.
Yeah, and I think once riders get to that front end and they have so many people invest into them, they have to be PC and they are a front man, and they have to be careful about damaging the reputation of companies and stuff. And I think people do like seeing the human that's actually getting out there and doing it. Yeah,
the raw side of it, and really is it's kind of cost. Well, it is costing a lot, isn't it? And there's you're not just like, I'm not saying the top guys are, but you're not just rocking up and going. It's so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
Oh, massively.
From, like you say, all those trips away just to get even an entry. And the cost and investment. So I think it's really good that people get to peel back the onion, as I think they say. And see your van as well.
It's a beautiful thing.
And I have interest, helmet design. Do you, because we're surrounded by helmets here, what is your helmet design?
So the helmet spec changed for roads. So in the UK, to race on any UK circuits under ACU, you have to have that little gold sticker, the ACU. And that's a
get on Alibaba, can't you?
Well, you could, yeah. And they changed to the roads to require FIM standard, which is a QR code that's stitched into the helmet strap. And if you scan that, it'll tell you if it's legit. And I think it's a bit more of a stringent thing. So I bought a FIM helmet that was plain matte carbon, and my race colours are pink. I like bright. So I had to go at painting that. I've painted my bikes. Again, I'm too tight to pay a joiner on the van, too tight to pay someone to paint the bike, so I'm getting pretty handy at it now. I've done it a few times. I'm getting really good at bodywork as well after dropping it a few times.
Oh, okay.
So I thought I'd have a go with the helmet and cut out some little vinyl stickers and put them over and did some layered stuff. So it's a purple into a pink with orange and blue sort of. I quite like the late 80s, early 90s sort of aesthetic.
Your hoodies now?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, same. I mean, these colours are both on the bike, throwing some magenta on there. The black bits on the helmet are actually the carbon, but because they're high gloss now, they're just
nice.
Yeah, I do like it.
And so the bike itself, again, my naivety, you'd be putting, I use the word stickers on that, but you'd be vinyl in it, wouldn't you, rather than painting it?
Most of mine's paint on there, so I do have
bit of crown paint on it,
getting really good at it actually. It shines in the pictures. But then I've got sort of my race logo that gets done in vinyl, so that's gone on companies that are up the side. And if I'm changing clubs, so with Derby I race under number 18. When I went away I had to go number 19, so it was that they're on vinyl on there. And really early on I bought a desktop cutter that anyone that's into sign making will hate that word because I think it's called like a plotter or something, but it cuts the vinyl, and that's really good. So I used to do the tail gang. So a lot of people, they see, sponsorship, I don't have a company, I don't have loads of money to throw in there. And it's like, well, actually, no, do you want your name in a video right in front of the camera as we go around? So I had stickers and I got a label maker at first, and then I thought, well, actually I can do it with the cutter and make it look a bit better and plonk a GoPro right in front of it.
Yeah, right.
So it has been handy to have, whether it's numbers or putting people's names on or a few memorial pieces.
Yeah.
And just stick them on.
I'm sure a number of companies support you here and there, but anyone you want to give a shout out to thank, because I'm sure every penny he gets. Oh,
massively.
Helpful.
Yeah, so Billy Redmayne Fund last year helped out massively, which was great. This year, Helmet City, who are a UK company, came on board. With the change in the helmets, they've also changed the regs on levers not too long ago, and now they're requiring that everyone has airbags. So he sent me a message and said, I've been watching the videos and looking for an excuse to work with you. Can I send you an airbag?
Nice.
Yeah, massively. Mm-hmm. So he's having an open day at some point. Hopefully I'll try and get over for that, do a bit of promotion. John Rock Racing Detailing, who is a guy called Ben. I think John was his dad, and he's in the unit just opposite us. And it's incredible what he does to a bike. You can bring him something that has lived outside for a while, and he will make it showroom. Right. He's a really cool dude anyway, but the work he does is absolutely incredible. Happy Dog Image Solutions, TM Vinyl, who both do sort of stickers and merchandise and stuff. There's just been a lot of people that have helped, and I will no doubt forget someone.
No, I didn't want to put you on the spot and forget someone, but yeah, obviously, I know from knowing a couple of other bikers, every little bit helps, doesn't it? Even if it's just to pay for a tyre or whatever. Yeah, massively. And whether it's companies or individuals, either giving their money, which is ultimately, what a lot of it comes down to, but also time as well. A lot of people just give you their time and their knowledge, and it all just helps to build that bigger thing to hopefully go out and perform a little bit better and make sure I get back. Yeah. Cool. Good luck. I'm sure we'll see you before the Manx, but good luck with the Manx and more importantly through the season.
Cheers.
I appreciate your time and good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Pleasure. It's word out from Martin.
And word out from Matt.
Poor flimsy humans. Don't you wish you were flawless like me? A towering inferno of physical perfection?
I hate to pop your blimp-like ego, but you're not perfect.